Welcome, everyone, to the premiere recap show of the USFL Network. This is Tell Me About It. I'm Webb, filling in for Hype this week. He should be back next week. We wish him all the best. The game of the week, we got to start with the Stallions and the Breakers. Lowe's calling it the Mardi Gras Bowl. It's the biggest rivalry in the USFL by far for the first 2 years. All the games were tight last year. The Stallions prevented the Breakers from going to the championship by beating them 3 times. They beat them 3 times last year. Breaker fans were upset. But new season, new team, new coach, new everything, new quarterback. I'm going to stop rambling. I'm just going to let our Breakers representative, Lowe, give you a recap.
Start the game with an opening kickoff return touchdown, but McLeod Bethel-Thompson was able to respond with a 40-yard touchdown strike to Lee Morris. The Stallions would then add a field goal, but Wes Hills was able to score a touchdown, and the score was 14-10 at the end of the first quarter. In the second quarter, the teams traded interceptions and then traded touchdowns, and at the end of the second quarter, it was 24-all. In the third quarter, the Stallions would be held scoreless, and the Breakers would add 2 touchdowns, making the lead 38-24. In the fourth quarter, the teams would trade touchdowns, but Stallions would end up punting, leading to a 45-31 victory for the New Orleans Breakers, putting them number 1 in the division and also giving them their first modern era victory over the Birmingham Stallions.
As you can see from Lowe, he's really excited and serious about it. This is the big one. This is the one that they circled on their calendar as soon as the schedule was released. Wes Hills was gigantic again with 191 yards. He's on pace for 1,000 yards this year in 10 games and 20 touchdowns. Flip has brought in a new kind of culture there. He called his shot at Daytona 500 when he said he wanted Skip Holtz. They share the hub. You heard Wes Hills on the post game say this is their field. They're taking this personal this whole season. And right now they look like the best team. MBT is an MVP candidate. Wes Hills is an MVP candidate. The defense is doing enough. But they beat their biggest rivals, the Ponies, the Stallions, the Birmingham team, the champs. And covering the champs, the injury-riddled champs, is Buck. So let's see Buck's recap for the game this past week.
Everyone, Buck here, kind of wanted to talk about the recap for that Stallions loss against New Orleans this past weekend. 45-31 loss. The Stallions offense, decent. New Orleans offense, great. Defense is but Birmingham definitely showed that there's some cracks there. Something to kind of keep an eye on to see what's going to go happen. Defense 100% needs to start working on what's going to happen when it comes to pass rushing. That was a big issue. That is something that is going to be something to keep an eye on that we have to see. Running also, something we got to watch there a little bit. Offense though, running was good. Passing was okay. That's something that needs to see improvement going into week 4 against Pittsburgh. But special teams was there. So big positive at that front. See you next week, everyone, against Pittsburgh. Should be a very entertaining game, especially with their win.
Talking about the Maulers, of course, that's my team. Obviously, I cover. Got their first big win. I think Jared Horton did something like that, right? After all the big plays, 21-13 over their biggest rival, Philadelphia. I know everyone likes to say, well, how can they have a rivalry when they only have one win and it's against Gamblers? It's not a division opponent. The Star games last year were a little contentions. Obviously, Isaiah Henney got his tooth knocked out. You catch more about the Maulers on Hammer Time. But a quick recap, Foster was everywhere. Boogie and Olive were pressuring Cookus the entire time. The Stars' offensive line could not contain anything and could not get the running game going. It's as simple as that. Troy Williams came in as quarterback for the Maulers and settled down the team and was consistent and made plays with his legs. Didn't do a tremendous amount of passing, but that touchdown to Bailey Gaither, you just felt like this was a different team. You just felt like they were ready to go, and the defense was like, okay, we're in this together now. You got the new kicker, Chris Blewett, comes in. He kicks 5 field goals. The extra point he does miss, but Coach Horton said in the press conference that it was his fault with the K ball and the quarterback ball, whatever. Maulers, really impressive this week. They're not in last place for the first time in modern day history. They go play the Stallions to continue this playoff tour. But they got 1 win out of the first 4. The goal was always 2-2. So we'll see where they go from here. On the other side of the field, the Stars, the offensive line is just horrendous right now. And anyone that plays them only needs to rush 3 or 4 to get to the quarterback and Cookus. And if you play good coverage, Cookus has to take his time, and he starts seeing ghosts, and he starts getting hit, and it started to fall apart at the end when the game was on the line, and they lost 21-13. Adam Rodriguez was all over the field. I got to give a shout out to them. I know the Stars get a bad rep for their defense, but Adam Rodriguez was all over the field with tackles in the backfield, sacks, forced fumbles, pass deflections. It didn't make a difference. This defensive end linebacker, Adam Rodriguez, is the real deal and should have serious consideration from all USFL by the end of the season. But now the Stars are in the basement. After 3 weeks in the preseason rankings, they were number 2. A lot of people picked them as the number 1 team, and now some are questioning, are they much better than the Boats? Yes, they did beat the Boats, and I guess that's the only saving grace, but they look like in a wreck. This week, they take on the Gamblers. You know, my buddy Ace is covering the Gamblers, so let's hear what Ace had to say about this past week.
Your Houston Gamblers are 1-2 after finally getting their first win against the Memphis Showboats in their home field this weekend. It was touch and go. They almost gave the game up, but Mark Thompson was able to come in and be the X factor, get 2 touchdowns, and then Justin Hall was able to get that game-sealing touchdown on that final drive. Kenji Bahar made up for the bad interception and some bad plays early on. Absolutely love it. Now this week, we have the Stars coming off a bad loss to the Pittsburgh Maulers. Cookus has been taking a lot of hits. We have to make sure we apply that pressure, and we have to tighten up the secondary just enough to be able to push on and go 2-2 on the season. We can do this. We can take down the Stars. And if we can do that, the playoffs are back in our sights, and we're all in. Let's go. Go Gamblers, baby.
First of all, me and Ace are going to have to get into it this week on USFL Authority. Tune in on Thursdays at 6:30 p.m. Eastern, because he said that was a bad loss to the Stars. I'm going to save that for USFL Authorities, but Ace, I got you. You're here. I got you. I'm going to remember that one. Kenji Bahar, to go back to the Gamblers, Kenji Bahar looked comfortable. Even when he got rattled a little bit, like he was able to settle down. He trusts his receivers. Adding Mark Thompson was absolutely huge. Pledger. The defense still struggles a little bit in the secondary, and they have a tough challenge this week against Cookus. But if that front 4, 5, whatever you want to, whatever they're rushing, if they can get to Cookus and hit Cookus, I think they should feel pretty comfortable going into this big game. But they did give up over 300 yards to Cole Kelly in his first start. And for the Showboats had a bunch of fans that come out, and unfortunately they're 0-3. They're the only winless team in the USFL right now. And covering them is the captain, the legend, the GOAT, Captain. Captain, take it away.
What's up, guys? It's your boy Brandon, aka the Captain, here to talk about another Showboats loss. This one not as bad as last week. We lost to the Gamblers 26-30. The fans showed up again even after we got our butts whooped last week from the Stallions. The fans were loud. You heard them on the touchdown that we did have. Showboats made a valiant effort to try to finish the game with a comeback. Cole Kelly got the start for the whole game. He looked like he'd earned the shot to get the start next week against the Panthers. So Panthers looked rough today. They got their first loss, but feels like next week will be a good bounce back game for them playing us. So here's hoping maybe we can pull something out, get it together. See you next week, guys. Hoping for that first win. Maulers got one before us. That stings. Go Boats.
Man, was this planned? Like, all these guys are throwing shots at the Maulers. But, Captain, I got you here. You're here now. But anyways, the Boats move on to Detroit. Detroit is another hub city that's bringing out their their folks when the home team plays. And they had a big game this past week, the Generals and the Panthers. The Generals, big plays all the entire time in the 28-13 win over the Ford Field Cats. New Jersey was a big play all day. Vita Victor with the 51-yard touchdown. Johnson with the big run in the next drive. 35-yard run by Vito on 4th and 1 for a touchdown. It was just big play after big play. Johnson with the big pass in the fourth quarter to seal the deal. It was just big play. Mike Riley's troops contain the Midwest Jungle Cats. It's as simple as that. Are these Jungle Cats the real deal? We don't know yet. We really don't. Look who they beat. They haven't they played one tough team. Gamblers is still questionable, and they struggle with the Gamblers, and they had to have a record-setting performance to pull that one out. Are the Cats from the Motor City the real deal? We will find out this week when they take on the Boats in Detroit. But we're not seeing ghosts this week. You know, Maverick's alter ego. We're not seeing Ghost. We're seeing Maverick today. Maverick, take it away.
Well, it's your boy Maverick here, Michigan fans, and it was a tough one today. The Michigan Panthers lost to the New Jersey Generals 28-13 in a heartbreaking fashion. Our offense just wasn't getting it done today. Less than 170 passing yards, less than a 50% quarterback completion percentage. We just can't win games that way. I mean, just ask the Maulers. So we'll be happy to put this one behind us and look forward to taking on the Showboats next week. But I'm not giving up on the season yet. Hopefully we can get another W in that win column next week. But as for now, let's hunt and go Michigan Panthers.
Bro. The last three contributors for the USFL network threw shots at the Maulers. I got you guys. Ace, got you. Captain, got you. Maverick, oh, you've been in here the entire time since you came after our revenge tour. So there you have it for week 3. We got a giant week 4. It's moving week. That's what I'm calling it, because either they're going to move into the playoff, move out of the playoffs. Are the Boats dead? Are the Cats dying? Are the Maulers for real? Are the Ponies hurt? Are the Breakers going to run away with this thing? Are the Generals marching forward? Are the Stars, are they kind of fading out? Who knows? Who really knows? But on week 4, it's moving week. So tune in next week. We'll recap. Tune in this whole entire week. Team Wednesdays, all the contributors that just contributed, including Hammer Time, were wall-to-wall coverage of almost every single team in this league. The best coverage in the league, especially the ones that have the Team Wednesdays. USFL Authority on Thursdays. The bonus content, follow us on Twitter, all the handles, all that stuff. The USFL Network YouTube page, go subscribe. We're over 700 subscribers now. We've been moving. I believe we've had over 600 subscribers, 500 subscribers in the past month and a half. It's getting close to that giveaway time. Ace has been talking about it. The man wants the Cavante Turbin jersey out of his closet. It's time for it to go find a new home. Subscribe, you get entered automatically. This has been Webb. Next week, Hype should be back. Family issues, we're praying for you. Hopefully you come on the other side a little bit stronger. Much love and respect. But thank you for watching. Tell me about it. It's been fun. Tune in to Hammer Time, dinner with Webb on Wednesdays. So I got to throw in that last shot. Everyone's been criticizing the Maulers the entire show, so I got to throw it on one last time. But this has been Tell Me About It. Webb out. Take care.